Hello and welcome to Gear Gyan with me, Sahil Jagtiani, where we talk about all things related to the Indian guitar gear scene. In today's episode, we're looking at one of my favorite amps, the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. But before we go into more detail about the amp and about the Spring Reverb, in particular that quality which I'm going to be reviewing today in the episode, make sure you click the subscribe button and ring that bell to stay up to date with all our latest videos. In 1963, Fender released its first ever amp including a reverb tank called the Vibroverb. The success of this amp gave rise to such classics as the Super Reverb and of course one of my favorite amps, the Twin Reverb. In 1996, one of the most successful amps of all time, the Fender Blues Junior amp, was modified into two variants. These variants were initially called the Fat amps, Fender American Tube amps. They were the Hot Rod DeVille and of course the 40 watt variant which I've got here with me right now, the Hot Rod Deluxe. The Hot Rod Deluxe has pristine, clean sounds. It comes with a reverb tank, including two springs. Of course, it's got a bright switch, and it's got two variants of a high gain setting where you've got drive and more drive. The drive and more drive options, when you activate them, have a master volume attached, so you can play bedroom levels when you're, at the high gain setting. Unfortunately, on the clean setting, when you go from between 0 to maybe 1.5, the volume goes pretty smoothly and all of a sudden it just like shoots up. So at about 2.5, you've got some crazy loud volumes, and I don't know why that is. So you don't have a master volume, you don't have an attenuated volume on the amp, on the clean setting. And of course, the clean setting is where all the magic is for this amp. It's one of the best pedal platforms I've ever seen. It's got an amazing reverb sound on it. The Spring Reverb for me, I'm yet to really find something that compares with that sound. Whenever I gig, I always ask for this amp because it's got a preamp out and a power amp in section, which is basically an effects loop. It's incredibly beautiful, like I've already said, in the clean settings, and it's very, very good at handling pedals. The high headroom doesn't distort any of my pedals so easily. It's just a classic amp. But I'm yet to find a solution, an amp solution that compares with it, especially regarding the Spring Verb. I think Fender makes the best Spring Verbs on the planet. The Spring Reverb tanks are just incredible on these amps. So today, I thought instead of doing a review of this amp, I wanted to test out how the Spring Verb responds to a Tele, to a Strat, and maybe have it at 12 o'clock and then on full. Just two options, simple options. I'll play some chords, a little bit of surfy kind of stuff along with it, and I want to compare it with two more amps. My favorite solid state amp of all time is the Boss Katana 100 watts. Okay, it's got a Spring reverb option on it as well. I'm going to keep the Spring Reverb option at, of course, 12 o'clock and then at full. I'm going to keep it on the clean channel. It's not got a bright switch. It's got a presence button, so I'm going to keep the presence for both playthroughs at 12 o'clock. And also my second favorite amp that I've got in my setup right now is the Calor Force 20. Okay, unfortunately it doesn't come with a reverb tank. It doesn't come with any onboard effects. However, they say the clean channel when the bright switch is on also sounds like a blackface, so it should the preamp should sound somewhat like this amp. And I'm going to use a Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame has a Spring Reverb setting, and I'm going to set the tone to 12 o'clock. For the reverb, when it's at 12 o'clock, I'll have the pre-delay again at 12 o'clock, and maybe do it at 3 o'clock, the pre-delay, when, not even 3 o'clock, I'd say maybe 2 o'clock, when the reverb is on full. So we're going to do a sound sample with all these three. I'm going to do first the reverb at 12 and then the reverb at full for both the amps. There's going to be a unity gain in post-production, obviously, because this is a 40 watt amp and it's really, really loud. The other amps obviously don't compare with it. So in post-production, I will balance the levels, but I will not add any kind of compression. I won't do any post-production beyond basic leveling. That's about it. And let's get to the sound test. Wow, that was fun. I love Spring Reverb. You know, I mean, I do a lot of instrumental stuff using Spring Reverb. It's just one of my favorite, you know, effects. Of course, you could see the Fender amp original Spring Reverb was just too good. You know, it was incomparable with any of the other two. However, the Katana was also good. I found the Hall of Fame to be okay, you know, especially on the full setting. It was not so great. It actually created more of a darker sound. The preamp was excellent. The Calor 420 preamp is really, really good. It's just that maybe that pedal wasn't the best pedal for a Spring Reverb test. Maybe in the future I might do another test where I get an actual Spring Reverb tank and compare that on the on the Calor 420 along with the Hot Rod Deluxe. Let's see, who knows. I'm yet to find something that compares with this amp, to be very frank with you. The Boss Katana came really close, but you know, when you dig into it, there is a difference, because on a tube amp you can feel the difference. You literally get a response from a harder pick. You know, it's very difficult for a person to describe. Even if you're listening to it, it might not be so different for you, but as a player, playing on a tube amp makes a whole load of difference. You know, it's a completely different experience. The Boss Katana is one of the best solid state amps, and the effects were amazing on it. However, it just didn't have that oomph, you know, from the Fender. The Fender just had some shininess to it. It had some chiminess to it. It was just so delicious. I mean, it was too good, you know. So now I've gone down this crazy rabbit hole of Spring Reverb and testing tones out. So the next step is to see whether or not I can actually get a similar sound with some online softwares like Bias maybe, or Amplitude, something like that. Let me see if actually even something on my computer can compare with this beauty, you know. I really want to see if there is a solution. Somebody else also told me that maybe just get an amp and get a preamp pedal and put it into your Cab M and see how that sounds. So maybe I might just get that also and compare it with this. Let's see. It started, man. This tone test thing has started. So let's see where we go with it. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Make sure you click the subscribe button and ring that bell to stay up to date with all our latest videos. If you want to support me in making such videos, know that YouTube doesn't pay me much money, but we need some money for editing, shooting, and for getting new gear and goodies. Now, in order to get some goodies, we're going to need some patrons. And where can you become a patron? You can become a patron on my Patreon link, which is in the card above. Go there and support this channel. If you want to support me even further, make sure you follow me on social media. Your likes, your clicks, and your comments all help. Make sure you follow me, SSJ Productions, and Gear Gyan on social media. Links are in the description below. And above all else, stay safe and wash your hands.